Middle. Middle.
Every day, across Britain, hundreds of raids take place in secret.
Some of the places we do go, their life choice is to be a criminal.
Filmed over 1 year, this series has gained exclusive access to some of the best raids teams in the UK. Catching crooks, red-handed.
They have to be prepared for whatever they find on the other side of those doors.
Got her.
Drugs, money, firearms.
Seizing illegal contraband.
It's just a sickening amount of wealth.
It's about strategy, surprise, getting results, and putting the criminals behind bars.
If you choose to live your life in this way, we will identify you and we will prosecute you.
Strike.
Organised crime units across the country are fighting to stop the supply of drugs. Cocaine use in the UK is the highest in Europe.
The role of the regional organised crime unit is to disrupt that flow of cocaine. We could target street users on a daily basis, but that's not going to prevent the flow of cocaine coming into the country. It's our job to be targeting the biggest and the most complex organised crime groups. The cocaine market within the UK is predominantly steered by the Albanian organised crime groups. They're able to import cocaine on a wholesale basis from Latin America. They're able to bring it through supply routes throughout Europe into the UK and maximise their profits.
One Albanian crime gang is now the subject of a major police investigation.
Operation Nightjar commenced about 10 months ago. It's been a real complex investigation. It focused on an organised crime group, an Albanian organised crime group based in Milton Keynes in the southeast of London.
A surveillance operation has targeted the very top of this criminal organisation.
From the work we're conducting on Operation Nightjar, we have identified Bleather Mazui as the head of the Albanian OCG. He is responsible for the transportation of multi-kilos of cocaine into Wales. The plan is to focus on Bleather Mazui. That way, he will no doubt take us straight back and straight into the gangs within the Cardiff and South Wales area.
The painstaking operation eventually reveals the extent of the gang leader's network.
What we see at clandestine meetings, you don't automatically see things handed over. It'll be done very discreetly. But what is important is that we actually cover those meetings and evidence the association between criminal gang members.
After months of surveillance, the targets are identified.
Bleather Mazui has now led us back to 5 gangs based in Cardiff that are involved in the wholesale supply of cocaine, and in particular, the crime family, which is run by the Sheblans.
The Sheblan family are suspected of being one of the biggest dealers of Class A drugs in South Wales.
It's not unusual for families to be involved in serious organised crime, in particular drug trafficking, and this mainly stems from one key factor, and that's trust. And when it comes to trust, it's fair to say that blood's thicker than water. They're headed by Haydar Sheblan, closely linked with his brother Tamar Sheblan. The Sheblans flaunt their wealth, and this is the profits from their drug trafficking. It's fair to say they wear expensive jewellery, drive flash cars. They believe they're actually untouchable. They're exposing their wealth. They're rubbing people's noses in it. And for me, that's the time when we need to strike.
And though the gang don't know it, police are now preparing to take them all down. Coming up, enforcers in Newcastle are out searching for illegal cigarettes.
You got more here? You didn't know that? Lucky we brought the dog to find it for you.
And the operation to take out Cardiff's drugs gangs moves up a gear.
When all units are in position, it's down to me to give the final call to go through those doors.
Illegal tobacco costs the UK around £2.5 billion in lost tax revenue every year. In Newcastle, the council's trading standards team are preparing to raid shops thought to be selling black market cigarettes.
Thank you everyone for coming along this morning. Operation Beagle 9. There's a few premises on the list. We have the benefit of detection dogs, thanks to Stu here. We bring in the detection dog services, the intention of which is to identify suppliers of illegal tobacco around the Newcastle area and disrupt their activities, seize the products and prosecute where we can.
We've got two fully trained dogs, Yoyo and Scamp. They're both trained to find tobacco and cash. Both very good dogs. They should produce some results, hopefully.
The team have intelligence suggesting that bootleg cigarettes are being sold in a local shop.
Oh, right. Counterfeit Richmond. Naughty boy.
He volunteered over a small quantity of tobacco. He was hoping that we'd go away with that small quantity.
The team aren't convinced the shopkeeper has given up all the illegal cigarettes in the shop.
Scampy come.
They deploy their most effective weapon.
You've got more down here. Billy.
It doesn't take long for the dog to reveal the shop's hiding places.
You got more here? You didn't know that? Lucky we brought the dog to find it for you.
The dog indicates there's even more under the counter.
Right, can you just go and stand out there for me, please? Scamps? Yeah. I'm all behind this till here. Good boy, Scamps. Well, just keep your hands to yourself. There's a good mixture of cigarettes and hand-rolling tobacco there, so he's probably topping up from somewhere else, isn't he?
We found that traders have elevated their methods of concealment and the ways they will go to deter us from finding the tobacco.
The search moves to the vehicles parked outside.
I'm just going to put it to this van here. All right? Scamps, come. What's this? He likes that one, yeah. Have you got keys to this, Paul, have you?
The detection dog gave very strong indications that there was tobacco inside of the van. You could see through from the front that there was something in the back of the van that was covered up with a blanket.
Oh, yeah. Voila! Brilliant, Scampy.
Yeah, you get a good feeling when you uncover what you're looking for.
Good boy, Scamps. Everything
they've found is bagged up.
Been a fairly decent selection kept in the back of the van, so it's good, another positive result.
The high cost of legal tobacco fuels demand for cheaper black market alternatives like this.
This is hand-rolling tobacco, 50-gram pouch, genuine, would cost you about £22. This is clearly a fake product. This shopkeeper has just told me that he sells it for £3 a pouch. So that is a huge, there's a huge variation in price there between the fake stuff and the genuine. He believes he's helping people that can't afford the genuine cigarettes. And yeah, he actually thinks he's doing a public service.
And even though he's been raided, the shopkeeper tells the team he will carry on selling illegal tobacco.
The important thing is with these things that the fines need to be an adequate deterrent, because the money that they make from the sales is significant. And at the moment, the fines don't outweigh their income, so it's not an adequate deterrent at the minute.
In South Wales, a special task force has had the leader of an Albanian organised crime gang under surveillance.
These investigations run for months and months, and sometimes they'll go into years, and we gather our evidence from surveillance and other covert methods. But it's important for us that we get all our evidence gathered before we show our hand.
Bledar Mizui has been caught on camera meeting members of a Cardiff crime family suspected of supplying huge amounts of cocaine.
These are the three Sheblan brothers that we're focusing on in the Cardiff area. Every day we wait, we always present that risk of the gangs becoming aware that we're actually onto them. In a perfect world, it would be ideal to execute all the arrests at the same time, but unfortunately, we don't live in a perfect world.
Haydar Sheblan is known to be in Spain, but his two brothers, Tamar and Ali Sheblan, are thought to still be in the UK. It's just after 5 a.m, and a specialist team of raid officers are deployed to track them down.
I don't think you can underestimate the element of surprise and timing when it comes to executing these raids. The coordination is extremely important. We need to ensure that those doors are going in at the same time.
We're just going to wait for all the other vehicles, because obviously there's a number of addresses being hit this morning, and then they'll call us, so we're going forward simultaneously to avoid people being alerted.
The atmosphere just prior to the execution of these warrants is fair to say it's pretty tense.
Team 4 to the command room, we're all at layer point. Yes, that's all noted. Team 4 at final pause point. Team 1 at final pause point. Team 3 at the final pause point.
When all units are in position, it's down to me to give the final call to go through those doors.
Switch on. Strike, strike, strike. Here we go.
The moment you go through those doors, there's no going back.
The term slavery has got lots of connotations, hasn't it? People seem to expect to see people in chains, but modern slavery is people being exploited, not getting the right amount of money for working.
Derbyshire police are leading the fight against human trafficking and modern-day slavery.
In recent years, we've seen a lot of these hand car washes spring up, disused petrol station forecourts, pub car parks.
They're targeting places where workers are paid far less than a living wage.
We're offering a level of service for very little money.
Officers believe hand car washes are particularly high risk when it comes to human trafficking and worker exploitation. They're cheap, but often corners are cut when cars are washed for just a £5. It's a problem police are determined to stamp out.
Morning then, ladies and gents. There's a number of car washes within Derby that have indicators to suggest that people are being exploited. They're looking tired, thin, withdrawn, barely making contact with the members of the public.
Meeting in this fire station today is a multi-agency team preparing to raid suspect car washes across Derby.
So the intention today is really just to go out and carry out a multi-agency visit.
Leading the operation is Detective Sergeant Gareth Smetham.
There are a number of people that have been trafficked in. They'll live in poor conditions and they'll be paid very little money. It's just about improving their working conditions and making sure that they get the right support and everything else. So that's the plan today. Everyone happy? Let's go.
Following tip-offs from the public, the team are raiding 3 car washes today.
This car wash, we'd had calls from members of the public with real concerns around the workers' conditions. It was something that we needed to go and check out.
This raids team use a different tactic. They don't smash doors down. Instead, they go in softly. There may be vulnerable victims they don't want to spook.
Is the boss in? No. From Derbyshire, please. Yes.
What all these car washes have in common is very low prices.
We've worked out that actually if you're charging less than £7 for a car, then there's got to be somewhere cutting corners. The maths just don't add up. The workers are very rarely coming forward about the conditions that they're working in, whether they're afraid to or whether they don't want to rock the boat because they want to carry on earning money. But the important thing is that we are there to do those visits in order to prevent anything serious happening, protecting those workers and making sure that no one's life's put at risk.
How much do you get a day?
45.
£45 a day? How many hours do you work a day?
I start 6:30 and I finish 6.
At 6, so that's 9.5 hours, isn't it, that?
By and large, we meet people who are just happy to have a little bit of cash in their pocket and they just don't want to rock the boat or lose that source of income.
The team find the same issue at other car washes as well. The victims don't want to talk to the police.
Thank you. I'm just going to get an interpreter on the phone, OK? Hello, Gabriella, I'm from Derbyshire Police. Can you just tell him that we're here to check on his welfare and can you just confirm to me he's got absolutely nothing to worry about?
Communicating via the interpreter, the team try to establish details about the conditions the man is working in. The information he provides is concerning.
Yesterday I've been working 13 hours.
13 hours?
Yeah.
And all the money he gets, he keeps?
Yes,
yes.
He just told me he was being paid £35 for the day. So when I did the maths, it worked out he was being paid £3.18 an hour. It's less than half of what he should be earning on the minimum wage for his age group. So it's unbelievable. Would he be willing to give us a statement about how he's been paid and treated and the conditions he's been working in and go to court?
I don't know.
Really frustrating when you're speaking to people and you're trying to give them that help and they don't want it. But all we can do is just keep visiting again and again. So if they really want to reach out at some point, any time while they're there, they can do it. Can you ask him to save a number in that I'm showing him in his phone if he needs to get help? And that's for the Modern Slavery Helpline.
Without the victim's support, it's much harder for police to bring the car wash owners to justice. But this fight isn't over yet.
We found some problems, and although it looks like we're driving away, actually, it's not over.
Coming up, the team raiding car washes in Derby find more than they bargained for.
A holster and a gun in a bag.
Trading standards are driven to extreme measures to find evidence of the fake cigarette trade.
If these traders are prepared to hide the cigarettes inside the vehicles, we will use whatever means necessary to gain entry.
Strike, strike, strike.
One in 7 cigarettes smoked in the UK is thought to be fake or smuggled.
There does certainly seem to be quite a few shops now who are active in selling illegal tobacco.
What's this? Hello. Hiya. How are you? Oof, counterfeit Richmond. Naughty boy. Unfortunately, they're very good at what they do. They change their tactics.
We found that traders have elevated their methods of concealment and the ways they will go to deter us from finding the tobacco.
So here we are. Looks like perfume, but it's full of illicit whites. Sometimes their products are kept upstairs and they're shoved down a pipe and not stored in the shop.
Obviously, as the traders aren't wanting to get caught with these dodgy tabs, they're increasing the levels of concealment and what they will do to avoid getting caught, so they're employing new tactics to hide cigarettes from us.
The Trading Standards team are continuing their investigation into shops thought to be selling black market cigarettes. They're on their way to the next target in the west of the city. They've had a tip-off suggesting the shop has been selling fake tobacco. Now, they have to find it. Before they even get to the shop, the team's dog picks up the scent outside from a parked car.
Fairly strong.
Good boy.
They're moving away from the traditional few packets under the counter to having cigarettes kept away from the premises in a vehicle that is linked to the shop and the business. It's just making it harder for us.
Scamp also alerts them to another suspicious car.
Good boy.
Positively indicated on both of these vehicles, which would make sense. We're directly outside the rear of the premises.
They go inside and search the shop.
Good boy, Scampy.
But Scamp finds nothing.
Back pockets?
They suspect these men own the cars outside.
Yeah, all on there, just empty your pockets in total, yeah. Okay. And yourself?
Yes.
Anything in your pockets?
No,
nothing. Nothing. Oh, they haven't got any keys today.
If these traders are prepared to hide the cigarettes inside the vehicles, we will use whatever means necessary to gain entry to them.
They're given a final opportunity to have the cars opened the easy way.
This is our key. You've got a chance to use your keys?
That's the key that we'll use.
Okay, fair enough.
Apparently he popped his head round the corner, saw me put the window in and then quickly popped back into the shop. Well, we're probably not the best of friends now.
Now they've smashed the windows, they need to search the vehicles to prove their suspicions. And they find what they're looking for. Stashed in the boot, hundreds of packets of counterfeit cigs.
Counterfeit Richmond.
Fake cigarettes can contain additional dangerous toxins like arsenic, and even rat poison.
Good boy. Good boy, Scamps. Good lad. Quite a big quantity, actually, in both of those vehicles, so that was a good result.
Then in the shop, the team find a ticket from a nearby car park for a third vehicle.
Yo-yo.
This time it's Yo-Yo's turn to search it.
It's either in there or has been in there, but there's an indication there.
The dog had given a strong indication that there was tobacco in the vehicle, so there wasn't a question that we were going to walk away from it.
Oh, it's going to be one of them.
No, I'm surprised he did that. Size he is. I've got more tools if you need them. What's that cardboard box on the left there, Paul?
There's a box in the car boot. But after a lot of effort and a fair amount of damage, it turns out to be empty. Despite finding nothing in the BMW, it's still been a successful day.
The staff inside the shop refused to acknowledge any ownership of the vehicles. We've had them verified by the police that they belong to the staff in the shop. The staff handed over any keys. The detection dog's given an indication on the vehicles, so we've given the opportunity to open the cars for us. They've refused, so we've had to force entry into the vehicles. Fortunately, we've made fairly significant seizures from those vehicles, so it wasn't all in vain.
Today's raids have seen thousands of pounds worth of illegal tobacco taken off the streets, hitting the traders of these dodgy cigarettes right where it hurts the most, in their pockets. The investigation goes on, as do the efforts to stub out the fake tobacco trade.
The problem of modern slavery is more widespread than we'd like to think. When Derbyshire Police set up the unit in 2017, it surprised us just how much we were finding.
Back in Derby, the dedicated police unit is out raiding car washes, looking for victims of slavery.
The reason we're going to this car wash today is we've had some information from the Modern Slavery Helpline. There's concerns around some of the indicators of exploitation, the fact that they've got no protective equipment, companies dealing in cash, they're only charging £3 for an outside car wash. Legitimately, you can't charge less than £7 for a car wash and be making any money. So people are being exploited. We've been to car washes in the past where they're only being paid £25 a week.
The problem is, the workers being exploited don't want to speak to the police, making it difficult to prosecute those responsible for their exploitation.
They had the passports taken off them, they'll be put in a room with 3 or 4 other people, they'll be paid very little money. They'll be told that if they go to the police that they'll get locked up because what they're doing over here is illegal, and it's because they've got that lack of understanding that is part of their vulnerability.
Without victims coming forward with evidence, the police team have to use other measures to tackle these car washes.
If we can't prosecute people for exploitation offences, there's always going to be other things that we can do to disrupt that criminality, such as your health and safety issues, your fire risk issues.
That's why the police don't come on these raids on their own.
Hey, all right?
Hi.
These other agencies look for hazards and breaches of regulations. The first thing to be checked is the electrics.
Look at that. There's a standard 13 amp plug. Somebody's fitted copper wire around the fuse to bypass the fuse, so that'll never blow.
What does that go into?
It looks like it goes up into there, probably for the lighting or something along those lines.
Owners will do quick box fixes around electricity because actually they don't want the business to stop operating. They don't want to pay money for an engineer to come out and fix it. And actually what we're seeing is these fixes that they're doing are inadequate, and worst case scenario could end up threatening somebody's life.
This is an unsatisfactory joint on that. If this was plugged into a piece of metal equipment and that equipment developed a fault, it can become live. But then you've got the potential of people getting electric shocks or electrocution from it.
Water and electricity don't mix, and it makes it even more dangerous for those conditions. I think what it shows is they are willing to actually risk people's lives, but we're not.
Elsewhere, inspectors find the main supply has been tampered with.
There's a lot of exposed parts to the top corner of the unit, which means that anybody going into that could potentially receive a fatal electric shock. They could be killed.
The electrician makes it safe. He disables the power supply and shuts down the whole car wash.
Great, it's all clear, so it's all done. Okay, that's perfect. Thank you very much.
When we find something dangerous, we'll shut the business down. That allows us to disrupt potential criminality. It gives us time to speak to the workers whilst we're getting those dangerous situations made safe.
Modern-day slavery is not just about low wages. The working conditions can become dangerous when corners are cut.
When you look around, you can see where they're making the savings just on your basic living and working conditions.
Come from Derbyshire, please. We're doing what we call a welfare visit today.
They look for other offences to give them the power to shut the car washes down.
Where's your chemical storage as well?
Hazardous chemicals are often being stored dangerously.
It's in that door there, yeah?
Have you got a key for it?
It's obviously not a proper store. No data sheets for the chemicals. It's just basically a label on what says how to use it.
And these two containers haven't got any labels on, so we don't know if they're hazardous or harmful to anyone who uses them.
It looks like many of the workers live on site in the adjoining building. The fire safety officer heads in to see if the living quarters are fit for purpose.
6 beds?
6 beds, yeah.
It's terrible. I don't know how some landlords get away with it. You shouldn't have to accept this, should you?
If there was a fire downstairs, that fire would be undetected and could actually compromise the safety of those upstairs. The doors aren't fire doors, so any fire could spread quite quickly and put these people at risk. What I'll do is I'll restrict the use of this premise for sleeping. Unfortunately then, that will put a number of people homeless.
Sometimes we're faced with some tough decisions. You know, the premises will be shut down, but actually we have to consider what's more important, the fact that they're being moved out of the premises, or the fact that actually by doing that we can be keeping somebody alive. When you do these visits, you never know what you're going to find.
On every raid, the teams are searching for evidence of illegal activity. But what they find at one car wash takes them by surprise.
We'll call out the firearms unit.
One of the officers has spotted a gun hidden in a bag.
Some car washes are fronts for organised crime groups, and so at this point we don't know whether that gun has been involved in other criminal activity, and so we have to make sure that we secure and preserve that evidence.
But it's quite heavy, and it looks like there might be some live ammunition in the belt as well.
The firearms officers quickly arrive on the scene.
Well, fire. There you go. Just give us a minute. Do you want to go and wait outside for me?
Wait outside, mate.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you.
Just want to glove up just in case.
You say it's not real?
Yeah, we find it in there.
Just wait over here.
Whatever the owner says, this pistol certainly looks real.
They're almost like prop ones, aren't they?
Yeah, they're not
real.
They're not real.
No, they're not
real, no.
That's empty.
So it's not real. It's a blank fire. Good. Just telling me the truth at least. I don't think he was that sure.
Carrying an imitation firearm in public is an offence. But this one has been found on private property, so police have no grounds to arrest the man. but they can get rid of the gun.
So what we're going to say to you is dead simple, is that we seize this and send it for destruction.
Okay.
Because I think it's best if you don't want a gun on your premises looking like the real thing. Are you happy with that?
Okay. But it's not real, isn't it?
But it looks very real. It looks very real.
It won't take a lot to make it real either.
Take it and destroy it, mate.
That's what we'll do then, fella, we'll get rid of it.
It was a relief to find out there was an imitation firearm on this occasion. What concerns me is that maybe in the past it's been used to make threats or coerce people, and it's obviously really important. That's why we take it, possession of it, so it prevents that from happening in the future.
Operations like this one today can have an impact, but ending modern slavery for good remains a huge challenge.
The word slave in the 21st century is absolutely shocking. It's unbelievable that we're still looking at these sorts of things. So as long as people are willing to turn a blind eye and pay that cheap car wash, then actually, do you know what, it's not going to stop.
Coming up, will there be justice at last for the organised crime gang living the high life?
The actual wealth they were displaying for individuals who were not working was actually sickening.
In South Wales, a special police task force is taking down an organised crime gang behind the supply of millions of pounds worth of Class A drugs.
Final pause point.
This time, we're not just focusing on one particular individual. We're looking to take down the complete structure, the national supplier and regional suppliers of large-scale cocaine. The scale of this can't be underestimated. We are talking multi-kilos of cocaine, a destructive drug, coming to the communities of South Wales.
The family who run the gang are the priority targets for this operation.
The aim of the investigation is to totally dismantle the Sheblam family and the Sheblam OCG.
The raid team in this Cardiff suburb are looking for Tamar Sheblam.
Strike.
Middle.
Female, got her.
By the time the officers got into the address and made their way upstairs, the occupants were still in bed, so a real efficient, effective method of entry.
Subject on premises.
We're arresting you on suspicion of conspiracy to supply Class A drugs between the 29th of December 2015 and the 21st of August 2016, contrary to Section 1 of the Criminal Law Act 1977. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned something which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence.
Tamar Sheblam, the oldest of the three brothers, is arrested.
Tamar Sheblam is clearly a major player within the Sheblam gang, and he's instrumental in the distribution of the cocaine throughout Cardiff and the South Wales area.
We're arresting you on suspicion of conspiracy to supply Class A drugs between the 29th of December 2015 and the 21st of August 2016, contrary to...
With Tamar Sheblam in handcuffs, arrest teams in Cardiff also pick up his brother, Ali. Haydar Sheblam is arrested in Spain.
Within minutes, you're getting the results in, and it's a real roller coaster of emotion. On this particular morning, we were successful in achieving all our aims, both within South Wales and in Spain.
I just need to search shoes and then we're there.
There's emotions going that everyone's in custody. There's still a job to do, and the search teams will remain there for hours and hours later. search teams are looking for anything that can be used in evidence. You have your obvious items such as drugs, money, high-valued goods, but they could be looking for anything that would indicate involvement in organised crime, from mobile phones to computers. But it could be that envelope with a telephone number written on it. The guys there will leave no stone unturned.
It's not just the homes of the brothers that will be searched.
As well as the Shebland brothers, we've got a team of search officers at the parents' address.
And in the parents' home, a treasure trove of ill-gotten gains.
You know, most of the stuff we're going through is all designer label stuff, you know, sort of high-end stuff as well. A lot of stuff still got tags, still got labels on as well, you know, so it's quite unusual to find so much sort of designer stuff in one area.
From the point the search team arrived and entered the parents' address, it was clear that the home had been used to stash high-valued items. It's probably the fact that they never thought we would go looking there. However, on this occasion, they were wrong. It's very clear from what we've seen of the Shebland gang, from the clothes they wear to the cars they drive, that they have made vast amount of money from drug trafficking of cocaine throughout the South Wales area. We recovered receipts for a watch in excess of £100,000. We had trainers valued in the thousands, and the money was actually off the scale.
It's evident from the search that the Shebland family have been making far more money than they can account for legitimately.
The family holidays in Dubai with high-performance vehicles, the actual wealth they were displaying for individuals who were not working was actually sickening. The Shebland family put up this superficial front of being local businessmen, but I have to say it wasn't difficult to actually to break through that, and you could actually see that what they'd amassed and their lifestyle far outstripped what they were earning in these superficial businesses.
All of the expensive watches, jewellery, perfume and clothing found in the premises are bagged up and taken away as evidence. The luxury cars are also removed, all essential to building the case against this criminal family.
We actually had members of the public applauding as we were putting in expensive cars on low loaders. On this particular occasion, we arrested every individual we wanted to. We were also able to seize around £300,000 worth of high-valued goods, around £30,000 to £40,000 worth of cocaine, and around £60,000 to £70,000 worth in cash. So for me, this was a fantastic result, and this to them will be an absolute devastating day. The damage these individuals and crime gangs cause to our society is horrific. For me, bringing them to justice is what the job is about.
The police investigation into the Shebland family finally came to a conclusion at Cardiff Crown Court. 22 people connected with the gang were sentenced to 116 years between them. Tamar Shebland was jailed for 16 years, with Ali and Haydar both sentenced to 8 years in prison. Gang leader Mazui, the Albanian drug lord who was supplying the family, was sent down for 18 years.
Got a personal feeling that you're actually providing a service and you're actually doing good within the community, and potentially making our streets a lot safer. It's great satisfaction, firstly, being able to dismantle individuals like this, but hopefully making a difference to the community.
One call is changing everything for Sally Lindsay. The nightmare begins in a Channel 5 original new drama, Cold Call, Monday at 9. And what happens when it's your own family stealing from you? Our new series, Robbing Your Relatives, Family at War, is next.